Hello, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another reading vlog where I'm gonna be reading Mexican Gothic. So, Mexican Gothic is a horror novel and I've been wanting to read this book ever since I first heard about it, and the time has finally come. And basically, this book is about Noemi, who learns that her cousin is in danger. And so she goes to her cousin's husband's house, and a lot of weird things start happening. And I just want to say that this vlog is completely filled with spoilers. So, yeah, let's just jump into the reading footage. Okay, so I'm on page 104, which is just over a third into this book. And well, this book is set in 1950s in Mexico, and we have been follow Noemi, who learned that her cousin Catalina is sick. And she knows that because her dad got her letter from Catalina. And she was saying that she was being poisoned and that she could hear things and see things. And well, Noemi's dad was worried about his niece. And so he sent Noemi to Catalina's house. Well, Catalina's husband's family's house. And they're all very, very weird. After Noemi does get to the house, she talks to her cousin. And she supposedly has tuberculosis, but Noemi is pretty sure that she's also mentally not okay, because she keeps saying that she hears people and that they have to be very quiet because there are people in the walls who can hear them, like dead people in the walls. And Noemi is just like, okay, there's something very wrong here. And the whole family, they just barely speak. And they say that it's not to disturb the old guy, the oldest member of the family. I think he's called Howard, because they would disturb him if they spoke very loud. But that's just also very weird, and they're all very weird. And Catalina tells Noemi that she needs her to go to town because the house is on a hill very far away from everything. And she tells Noemi that she needs her to go to town to get some medicine that she once got from a woman called Marta. And so Noemi goes there and she talks to that woman, and she tells her that she gave Catalina sleeping medicine because she was having weird nightmares. And well, Noemi has also started having those weird nightmares. But the thing is, I'm not entirely sure they are nightmares or if it's actually happening. Oh, and also that woman, Marta, she tells Noemi that the Doyles, which are the family that owns the house, are cursed because they had a mine, right? And they had a lot of workers on that mine. And they all got sick and died, and then everything was okay. And then after a few years, they all got sick and died, and then everything was okay. And it happened a few times. And also there was a member of the family who just decided to go on a murder rampage on the day of her wedding. So, yeah, apparently they're cursed, which honestly I don't doubt, because again, very weird things happening in that house. Oh, and also there's a lot of mention to mushrooms. And I know that there is going to be a very disgusting scene with mushrooms. I don't know what it is, but I've seen a lot of people talking about how it was disgusting. So I love mushrooms and I'm not ready for that. So yeah, anyway, but there's already been a lot of mention to mushrooms. There are mushrooms everywhere, and they eat a lot of mushrooms, and Noemi talks about mushrooms, and there's a lot of stuff about mushrooms. So yeah, there's that. And so far, I haven't really felt the horror, really. The only scary thing was one of Noemi's dreams that was definitely scary. But like the whole atmosphere of the house is definitely very creepy, so I'm enjoying that. And I also really like the main character, like Noemi, I really like her. But yeah, I'm really hoping I get more horror because that's what I'm here for. Okay, I am on page 208, which is around two-thirds into the book. And since I last updated, Noemi has gotten back to Marta's house. And this time, Marta explained a little more about the woman, like from the other family that she said that had like murdered a bunch of people and then killed herself. Well, her name was Ruth. And she explained that basically Ruth fell in love with a man called Benito, and well, her father wanted her to marry someone else. So they kind of made Benito disappear. And she was angry. And so apparently that's the reason why she decided to go on a murder spree. The thing is, and that's what Noemi also pointed out, it would make sense for her to want to kill her dad, but why did she decide to kill everyone? And also, she did not actually succeed in killing her dad, but that's just a whole nother point. So, yeah, why did she decide to kill everyone? And then when Noemi went back to the house, her cousin Catalina gave her a piece of paper that then she read and realized there was like a diary entry from Ruth. And there she was saying that like she wasn't sorry and she had to do that. And wait, let me see if I can find that actually. She was like, I hear their voices constantly whispering, they glow at night. And like in Noemi's nightmares, she always sees like glowing stuff, like yellowy amber-ish glowing stuff. So yeah. And okay, like she was talking, like the last thing she wrote was, he beat me when he found out about Benito, but I swore there and then that I would never bear a child nor do his will. I believe firmly this death will be no sin. It is a release and my salvation. So again, she wanted to kill her dad, but why did she decide to kill a bunch of other people too? Oh, and also Noemi had before, I think that was actually before she talked to Marta the second time. Noemi had a dream, a vision, whatever, with Ruth. And I think that's actually when she said that she wasn't sorry. It was not in the diary entry. I think it was in Noemi's dream. She was like, I'm not sorry, whatever. But again, why did she kill everyone? I mean, not everyone, but like, why did she kill a bunch of people? Also, the only like seemingly decent, and again, I don't know if he's decent or he's just pretending to be decent, member of like that family is called Francis. And he's been telling Noemi that she needs to get away, and it seems like he's wanting to protect her from whatever is about to happen. And also, can we just talk about the fact that she keeps saying that her, like, not boyfriend, but whatever, like, Duarte or whatever he's called, is like so handsome, and her cousin's husband is also so handsome, but Francis is not. And like she keeps saying that, and I'm just like, okay, I get it, he's not handsome, can we like move on past that? Okay, yeah, cool. So yeah, Francis, he's not handsome, but he's, well, he appears to be nice at least, so there's that. And well, Noemi is still obviously worried about her cousin, but she's also worried about herself, because again, everything at that house is super weird, all the people are super weird. So yeah, she's worried, and she tells them that she wants to leave, but they're not gonna let her leave because it's been raining and the roads are all muddy or whatever. But they say that probably next morning it'll be fine for you to leave. So they have dinner together one last time. And when I mean together is like Noemi, Francis, Virgil, who is like Catalina's husband, and Florence. And after they have dinner, they all go up to like the older man's bedroom. And well, that was very weird. and like the body horror thing definitely started, and like it was disgusting, and I absolutely loved it. But yeah, there were like things growing on his legs, and then there were like things growing on his lips, and there was a black liquid coming off of his mouth, and then he kissed Noemi, and then Noemi started like hallucinating or seeing some kind of things. I don't know. It was all very weird. But yeah, I'm still confused, but yeah, it was definitely weird. It was definitely very disgusting, but I love that. So yeah, and like the last thing I read, like literally the last thing I read, it said, after like Noemi came back from whatever she was seeing, she was like, before she could scratch herself, pustules erupted and there rose tendrils like hairs upon her skin. Her velvety body fruited, fleshy, white, fan-shaped caps sliced through her marrow and her muscles, and when she opened her mouth, liquid poured out, golden black, like a river that stained the floor. Her mouth was full of blood, and she spat out her own teeth. And I'm just like, okay, that's cool. That's definitely very cool. That was the last thing I read. So yeah. Also, still a lot of mention about mushrooms, and like it's sort of gross, but I don't think that's like what everyone's saying that's gonna be like really gross, because I'm just like, yeah, sure, mushrooms. So yeah, still waiting for the grossness. Gross, is that even a word? Grossness. I'm gonna assume it is. I'm still waiting for the grossness with the mushrooms. But that reminded me that, like, I don't know, a few months ago, I drew a bunch of mushrooms, and I actually am proud of those drawings, which doesn't happen often, and I feel like after this whole thing, mushrooms are gonna need a lot of love, so I'm just gonna show you my mushrooms. Okay, so I have finished Mexican Gothic, and oh my god, that ending was intense. So we basically find out that Howard, like the older man, and I'm saying Howard because it's not really Howard, has found a type of mushroom that can like basically heal, cure things, even give eternal life, and that mushroom is like growing under the house. It's in the house, it's in the walls, it's in the food they eat. Like its spores are like released into the air, so they breathe it. So like it's literally everywhere, and that's what was causing Noemi's dreams. And we also learned that most people who come in contact with that kind of mushroom die, like all the workers from the mine that I talked about, that like they would die and then there would be a period where they would be okay, and which is like when they were getting like exposed to the mushroom, and then they would get sick and they would die, and new workers would come and they would be okay, then they would get sick, they would die. Yeah, so most people who come in contact with the mushroom do die, and the ones who don't die, they get like mentally affected by it. And the mushroom has kind of a symbiotic relationship with Howard. And when I say that people are like mentally affected, it means that Howard can like control them, since he is the one who has like that kind of relationship with the mushroom. Like he can control people, and like for example, like everyone who works at the house, they are controlled by Howard, and they have like completely lost all sense of who they are. They're just like mindless workers. and that is terrifying. And so, when I say that he's not really Howard, it means that the man who actually found the mushrooms, like, that was hundreds of years ago, but he can, like, he can live forever, but not in his own body, because the body will get old and die. So he basically, like, passes to another body, like one of his sons. And so, yeah, that's what I mean when you say that he's not really Howard. Like, the body he's in right now is Howard, but the mind is not Howard. And basically, like I said, like, most people die when they come in contact with the fungus, and that family, they have a special, I don't know, genetics, whatever, that allows them to have that kind of relationship with the mushrooms. So they just have children with their cousins or their siblings to, like, preserve the bloodline. And he's planning, like, Howard's body is dying, so he's planning to get to his son's body, Virgil. And basically they brought Catalina there because she was sort of compatible with the fungus, and well, they do need children. But now they have realized that Noemi is way more compatible with the fungus, so they want her to stay there and to marry one of the guys, so she could, like, give them children, so he can, like, get into their bodies. And since she has, like, been affected by the mushroom, she cannot leave the house because, like I said, like, Howard and the fungus, they control her. So yeah, like, she tried to get away and she couldn't breathe, so she cannot leave. But Francis, the guy that I said was, like, seemingly decent, he tells Noemi that there are some things that counteract the effects of the mushroom, and that sleeping medicine that she had, like, brought for Catalina is one of those things. So he gave, like, Francis gave Noemi the medicine, and also to Catalina as well. And, like, Catalina has already figured that out, that's why she wanted that thing, but like, you can take a lot of it. So she starts taking a little, just trying to, like, get away from the mushroom influence. And when it's finally time for Howard to change bodies, we thought that he wanted to go into Virgil's body, but actually he wanted to go into Francis' body. And when they're all in the, like, Howard's bedroom, they kind of had a fight, and they shot Howard, and, like, Noemi, Catalina, and Francis, like, ran, and they got to the basement. And, like, the basement, I'm not sure it was a basement, but, like, it was, like, under the house. It was, like, all covered in mushrooms, like, everywhere. It was, like, the heart of the fungus thing. And then Virgil got there, they started fighting. It was intense, but basically Noemi kind of set the whole thing on fire, and they ran. And the last thing we saw was Francis waking up, and he seems to be free of the hold he had, like, to the fungus, but, like, he can never be entirely sure whether he really is free or if it's gonna, like, come back. But yeah, that was intense. And I mean, it was kind of, like, gross, the mushroom thing, but it wasn't as bad as I expected. But, like, also it takes a lot to gross me out, so maybe that's the problem, like, I'm the problem. But yeah, it was very intense, and I definitely, like, really enjoyed this, like, last third of the book. It was really good. But anyway, let's just go into my final thoughts. Okay, so I really enjoyed reading this book, and I have to say that I think my favorite part about this was the, like, creepy atmosphere of the house and the whole family, because they were all really weird, and it was just very quiet and eerie and disgusting, I guess. And speaking about disgusting, I also really like the parts where they talked about, like, the body horror, especially in Howard. And also, like, there was a woman, like, kind of covered in mushrooms, And yeah, like definitely loved the body horror, even though I would have liked to see more of that because it takes a lot to gross me out, so definitely would have liked to see more, but yeah, what I did see, I loved it. Also really enjoyed following Noemi, like I really enjoyed her as the main character. I really liked her personality and I really liked how hard she actually fought against the mind control, whatever, of the mushrooms, fungus, you know, the thing. And also, speaking about the mushrooms, again, it takes a lot to gross me out, but I was expecting a lot more. I don't know, I was expecting it to be a lot more gross, like the thing with the mushrooms, because everyone said that it was absolutely disgusting, and maybe it is just me that I'm just not easily grossed out, but I don't know, it wasn't that bad, I guess. But yeah, like I was saying, I really liked following Noemi, and I really liked the plot as a whole. I really liked figuring out how the house worked and how it was connected to the family and to the fungi. Yeah, really, really enjoyed that. Also, I did like the ending because like they got away and we don't know if they are completely free of the fungi or if it's gonna come back and they're gonna be like under its influence again. But either way, the ending we actually got to see was happy, and I like that. But sometimes in horror books or movies or TV shows or whatever, I actually like when like the evil wins. I don't know if that's like very psychopathic of me, but I do like that. And there was one book I read this year in which that happened, and I really enjoyed that. You know, when the characters try their best and they think they escaped, but then they didn't. I really like that. And I mean, maybe that does happen here because, like I said, we don't know if they're actually free. But yeah, either way, like, I also, like, I guess I want the characters to be happy, but also I want them to not be happy, so yeah. And finally, I read some review saying that the first part of the book was slow, and it was kind of slow, but I actually didn't mind that because I enjoyed getting to know Noemi and getting to know the house and the other characters and what was going on, because it was slow, but it was very like creepy, atmospheric, so I actually didn't mind it being more slow. But yeah, I have to agree that the first half of the book was definitely slower than the second half, and especially like the last third of the book was very intense, and it was when we like found out everything and everything happened and all the confrontation and the fighting and everything. So like yeah, the last third of the book was definitely much more intense than the rest, but actually did not actually like mind the pacing at all. And so yes, I really overall really enjoyed this book, and I'm giving it 4 stars. Alright, so I think this is everything for this week's video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, give it a like and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!